Few weeks ago, I had this epiphany, and the epiphany had to do with Tesla as a story stock, as a narrative stock. Now, everybody knows that every stock has a story, every company has a story, but Tesla was in a place all by themselves in terms of the nature of the story, just because of the immensity of the story and the dynamism of the story and the breadth of the story, the depth of the story, and the storyteller with Elon being that in that role. So anyway, I want to update that today and talk about the market movers as opposed to catalyst market movers. And I'll explain more about that when we get to the other side of my intro, which is, hi, I'm Randy Kirk. And if you like this kind of stuff, please hit the like button. You can wait till the end if you want. And that way, it's letting me know that it was actually good content. And then hit subscribe and notify. I've got Larry Goldberg coming on on Saturday morning. Larry Goldberg will be on Saturday morning, and he'll be talking about the week in review and also the week to come. And then I've got Brian White coming on Sunday morning, and we're going to really dig deeper into the Model 3 refresh, not just about what the refresh is going to be about, but rather what the possible impact is. I think it's going to be way bigger than I thought. Maybe it's way bigger than you thought too. And then, of course, I'd love to have you on Patreon. I'd love to have you buy some books. And let's get back into the meat of the subject, though. So let's set it up again here. What we have is we have Tesla as a story stock. There is a huge narrative around Tesla, and the narrative is what drives the price as much as anything else. People talk about the multiple being something to do with the number of times that the company will grow. Will it be up 50% per year, 70% per year, 30% per year? And you can kind of get to multiples that way. But one of the biggest aspects is the story. So let's think back for a minute when Rivian first came out, and all of a sudden, with no cars, with no factories, with nothing else, they were worth 100. They were worth, I think it was, how many billions was it worth? It was worth 100 billion, right? Anyway, whatever it was a massive number, and there was nothing there except the story. So you see what I'm saying? The story is what's going to really drive the stock. And what's happened last year, as I mentioned at that time, when I had this epiphany, was that the story had been broken for about 7 or 8 months, and it was broken at the same time that the entire stock market was broken. The economy was considered to be broken. The stock market was broken. Everybody was pulling in, and they didn't want to invest in risky ventures. So everything was broken at the same time. Tesla collapsed. It collapsed way beyond what it should have collapsed in normal times. If the market hadn't collapsed, it probably would have never fallen below its current levels, quite frankly. So when the market picked up and when the story got repaired, Tesla started taking off again, and it's taken off at a crazy number to where now it's part of the Magnificent Seven. It's one of the 7 stocks that are driving the price of the NASDAQ and the S&P. All right, so in order for this story in order for the narrative to continue to buoy up the stock and keep the stock rolling ahead of these 40s or 50 or 60 PEs, up to 70, 80, 90, maybe even 100, maybe even more on the PEs, then the stories about the future of Tesla have to become more concrete. I might be able to get the idea of what Dojo as a service might mean in the future. You might be able to get that, but a lot of folks are not willing to even contemplate it as part of the price yet. Or maybe Optimus. You know how much I love Optimus. I think it's a trillion, 10 trillion, $20 trillion business. But a lot of people are like, oh, show me one working and actually screwing in a screw, and I'll believe it. Okay, so as those stories become a little more concrete, then you'll see the stock take off, not because of a catalyst, not because of a one-time event, but because of the accumulation of the story, accumulation of the evidence, accumulation of the understanding that this is something that's going to happen or has a very high likelihood of happening, and happening in a reasonable amount of time, and then the stock will start going crazy. So what I've done is, this is not a catalyst list. This is the next 7 months. These are the market movers that are very likely to take place. Some of them are already announced. We know they're going to take place. I might have the month off by a month. Others of them are a little bit more speculative, but are pretty much based on what we think is going to happen. And then I've thrown a few stock price estimates to go along with it. So let's take a look at what I've come up with here, and you guys tell me. Please comment everywhere along the way. Say, Randy, that's just ridiculous. That's not going to happen, and it's not going to matter. All right. Well, let's start really with something very, very soon. That is on July 2nd, we get the shipments in production. If you follow this channel, you know that I'm shooting for 460. You know that the street is about 447, 446, somewhere in that way, in that area. If it hits 450 or more, the stock is going to probably get buoyed. It's going to have this feeling of, yes, it's doing as well or better than expected. If it hits 460 or more, that could actually be a catalyst. It might have a one-day result that we would like. But in general, it'll say, yes, the 2 million number is possible. It'll say, yes, it could be even more than 2 million. And yes, Tesla's on their way. It won't have the margins in there. So that's something that'll have to come on the second one. That is the third week earnings report and the earnings call. Now, what's special about this upcoming earnings call is that Elon has promised us a 30-minute video about Optimus, a 30-minute video. Now, you can't do a 30-minute video about Optimus unless Optimus can do some stuff, okay? So this could be a tremendous amount of energy that would go into the idea of Optimus and cause people to start to have, a greater sense of, I have to be invested in this stock. So the earnings call, what do we want? We want 21% margins. We want to see the energy numbers starting to show up, some earnings and energy that are obvious and clear. And we want to be able to hopefully see something with regard to the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA. We want to see something with the IRA, and we want to see anything else that would give us some excitement about these various divisions beginning to take off and actually show some profits. All right. And so $1 a share would be nice. $1.08, $1.10 would be better, because we'd like to be able to see more than $5 by the end of the year. All right. So that is, and then what happens with that 30-minute Optimus video, that could be incredible. All right. So then we go, that's July. By August, I think we'll have the groundbreaking in Mexico. So we've got 60 days to get there, 60 plus a few days to get to that groundbreaking, if I'm right about August. So, but I don't think it'll be longer than that. I think they're going to need to do that groundbreaking, even if they're not ready to do it, just to not break the story. Because if Mexico doesn't break the ground pretty soon, the story is going to be a little bit broken, and you don't want that to happen when you have all this momentum. So I'm saying that happens between now and then. The groundbreaking itself, again, you're not going to get like a big jump in the stock that day. What you're going to get is a confirmation of the story. I know I keep saying it over and over again. All right, then later in August, or sometime in August also, you will have the Model 3 reveal for Shanghai. Okay, I have this new theory, I could be completely wrong, that the Shanghai vehicle is going to be a hatchback and the American vehicle is not. They're going to be different vehicles. The American vehicle is going to be a sports looking car. The Shanghai model might be sporty looking, but it's going to have a hatchback on it. And they're going to be revealed at different times, and they're going to be starting production at different times. So Cybertruck, Shanghai model, the reveal in August. And that is to give it 20, 30 days to start taking orders before the actual handover in September. And there's quite a bit of reporting now that September is when the Shanghai Model 3 refresh, the Highland version, will be coming out in Shanghai. Okay, so that's my theory. Again, there's a little speculation, but that's my hope. All right, then in September, in addition to the Model 3 handover, you'll also have the Cybertruck handover. Now, of course, this will be a very big deal. This potentially is a catalyst item. But again, I'm not so interested in it as a catalyst. I'm interested in that it completes the story of Cybertruck. So I look at it in three pieces. You've heard me say this before if you watch the channel. Number one is the actual handover, and that the vehicle looks good. Everything about the day is good. There's no negative things going on with the day. And then we get third-party reviews. First, we'll get reviews from people that are fans. Of course, those will happen sooner. Then you'll have third-party reviews coming in, and then you'll have a general response that you begin to hear that the car is a good car. and that it can do things that trucks need to do, actual work trucks. Jim Farley, yes, it will be a work truck. Anyway, so I would expect the Cybertruck handover in September, and this will really buoy the stock, and it will be a continuous story for weeks and months to come. It will be the most photographed product maybe in history, and it'll be all over the country, and people will be going crazy. Yeah, so it'll be a big deal, and it will be a constant. It'll be a continuous thing that will cause the stock to be underpinned. And new people will be interested in it for the first time, and that'll bring more money to the market. All right, so that's in September. October 2nd, you get the third quarter shipments and production. We want those to be in the well over 500,000 level. I would say I'd like to see those in the 525 range, maybe even the 550 range. We'll know a lot more, between now and then, what the number should be, could be, but that's what I'm going to say is in somewhere the 525 to 550 range. And again, it's got to be enough to continue the narrative that 2 million plus is a definite happening, and that's going to drop to the bottom line. Now, you hopefully don't have a lot of price cutting going on in that time, so that people will believe that the margins will continue up as well. I think that the market, the overall macro is going to be good for cars, so that's going to help Tesla in this time as well. So then you have the third week of October. Again, you get the earnings and the call. In that earnings call, we're going to be looking at, again, at least for 21% margins, maybe even a little higher, maybe 22 by that time, and that's a very good likelihood because you'll have lots and lots more Model Ys being sold, which is going to drive up the margins. It's going to drive up the average selling cost. And the Model Ys rather are going to be much more further along in their development, so the that causes costs to go down, as well as commodities continuing to have an effect. All right, all those things. So the third quarter shipments and production, that will be another execution meeting where we're going to want to see that Tesla has done a great job of executing. I'm guessing that there will also be something at the call in terms of an announcement. And one of those announcements probably will be AI Day 3. So they'll probably announce at that call that AI Day 3 will be coming up at the end of October, which is when we had it last year. So the AI Day 3 will have 3 subjects to it. It'll be, if you can believe it, more amazing than last year's AI Day 2, because you're going to be looking at Dojo, FSD, and Optimus will all 3 be subject matters for AI Day 3. It is going to be mind-bogglingly crazy. Again, it may not drive the stock up. It may not be a catalyst, but it will be huge in terms of putting underpinnings under the reality of those 3 things, all of which are, well, Dojo's $1 trillion. Elon says hundreds of billions of dollars. I guess he meant revenues, but there's mostly revenue in that. Optimus, trillions of dollars of revenues and $1 trillion of profits. FSD, hundreds of billions. Anyway, you get the point. So that's going to be AI Day 3, and it will definitely continue the story. November, we've got the stock at 400. Okay, that's after both the earnings call and AI Day 3, the stock will now be at 400, might be 400 something, 425. It'll obviously be trading in a range as always, but that's when we're going to see Tesla back at the all-time highs, maybe breaking through those all-time highs and starting to trade just above the all-time highs. I don't think, some people are saying it might even go to 500 by the end of the year. I just don't think that's going to happen. All right, so then we've got in November, now we get a little more speculative here. I say in November, we'll get the next Giga announcement, the next Gigafactory announcement. Obviously, I think it's going to be India. Who knows, it might not be, but I think we'll have that announcement in November. Elon said by the end of the year. Now, last year he said there'd be 2 by the end of the year. There was none. He's saying this year it'll be by the end of the year for 1. And I'm saying that will be in November. Then you have, but it doesn't matter if it's December or January, it'll be fine. It'll still underpin, again, the story. Then in November, you'll have the US Model 3 Highland reveal, okay? And this might be a catalyst, because if it's sharp enough looking, it will be a catalyst. I think this is going to be a car where it's going to be a lot about looks. Check out the thing with Brian and I on Sunday morning to talk about sedans. I've been a sedan driver my entire life. I prefer sedans, sport sedans though, okay? The Volvo, okay? I like sporty looking cars. I was a Challenger. I had the first Challenger. The first year I bought the Challenger when it came out. That's the kind of car I love. Well, okay, I'd like to see this look a lot more like a sports sedan. If it does that, I think we could have a huge winner. We'll talk about that more on Sunday morning. And then the orders will open up in November for the Highland version, and then in December, they will have the Model 3 handover. So all three of those, again, they could be catalysts, but they're more likely they're going to underpin the story, and people are going to say, oh, hey, the Model 3 might do some numbers next year because that's a sharp looking car. That'll be kind of what I'm expecting. It also might be a matter of what the cost is. If the cost is lower than the existing Model 3, giving it some separation between the Model 3 and the Model Y, that could be good. And we'll see what happens with regard to that. Okay, then we have January 2. Oh, I'm sorry. In December, I'm also expecting to have the groundbreaking in Sparks, Nevada for the add-on on the facility. Now, that could come a lot sooner than that. That's kind of the latest date, because they're saying they'll start making the semi-trucks in the fourth quarter of 2024. So they're going to need time to build that. So I'm saying they start building it towards the end of this year. The January 2nd, we'll get shipments and production, which will give us the final numbers for the year. That's going to need to be looking close to 600,000. I think that's a very real possibility. That is my number, I'll tell you right now, and 2.1 million for the year. So you can do the math to how you need to, what you need each quarter to get there. But anyway, 2.1 million, that's what I'm shooting for. If that happens, believe me, the stock at 400 will seem like a bargain. And so in January, the stock will be at 500. And that'll happen probably after the earnings call, where we see that margins are still at least 2.2 at that point, and maybe starting to look like 2.3. And you'll start to see energy being a significant portion of the bottom line. You'll begin to see the Cybertrucks, even though it's a few of them, those will start to have an impact. So that's why you'll start to, the stock now will be at 500. Okay. And then in the course of this 7 months, you'll also have all of these. Okay. In it, those are the ones that I put dates on. These are, I can't put dates on it because you don't know, there's no real information to put a date on them. I just believe these will all happen in that same 7-month period. Number one will be a breakthrough in 4680 production. Maybe even they'll hold a battery event to talk about 4680 production and the future of the 4680. That would be fantastic. I would love to see that happen. I don't know where they fit that in with all of this. And hey, maybe it's in February after all the rest of this is done. But we need to have a breakthrough event, a breakthrough conversation about 4680. Number two will be a major announcement with regard to FSD. Now, will it be FSD level 5, sit in the back seat when you're and read a book while you're the car drives you around? I don't know. That breakthrough, we all know it could happen at any minute. I'm saying, though, within the next 7 months, there will be a significant breakthrough with a major announcement about it. And maybe that'll be the announcement also will happen at AI Day 3. But anyway, that I think will happen in the 7-month period. Next will be mega factory announcements. You'll have at least one, probably at least 2 mega factory announcements to make mega packs. I think that that might be Austin. It might be England, or I mean Berlin, rather. It might be someplace completely new that we're not even thinking about. All right, so that's mega factory announcements. Next will be a Gen 3 reveal date set. So I don't, because they're now talking that that Mexico's behind, maybe even not starting until first quarter of 2025 with production. You don't want to announce the Gen 3 too early. So I'm saying that maybe in this 7-month period, maybe it'll be February or March, they will announce the reveal date. So they'll say, okay, on June 1st, we're going to have this big deal, and we're going to reveal the Gen 3, the whole story. All right, so that's a Gen 3 reveal date, probably within 7 months. We will get in the 7 months, we will have one licensing deal from some legacy or startup where they want to license some aspect of Tesla technology other than the supercharger stations. So whether that's a gigacastings, whether that's FSD, whether that is Who knows whether it's just the octavalve or whether I don't know. Something, now that the ground has been broken, now that there is a sense that it's okay to do business with Tesla, by General Motors, by Volvo, by Polestar, by Ford, to go down the list. Apparently VW is just about ready to do their deal. So it's okay to do business with Tesla. So it'll be okay to license some technology or buy finished product from Tesla that people can't do themselves, or that it would take them way too much expense to do themselves. So I see one licensing deal or one purchase arrangement before this, during that 7 months, end of January. Okay, and then finally, yes, 2.1 million cars shipped in 2023 and estimates for 3 million cars in 2024. The estimates for 3 million cars in 2024 would be adding 600,000 more Ys, 150,000 more 3s, and 250,000 Cybertrucks, and that will up the EPS estimate for 2024 to $7. Now, that'll still be way under what it's going to turn out, because it's going to turn out to be closer to 9 or 10, maybe even 11. But the analysts will put it closer to, $7 at that point. But at $7, even times 50, you're talking about a 350 market price. I think it'll be times many more multiples than that, and people will be paying for it. That's why I'm saying 500 at that time. So tell me what you think. Please, in the comments. Which one of these do you think is just stupid? It's not going to happen. Which ones of them do you think are absolutely guaranteed? And which one did I leave out? What kind of a market mover, a thing that's going to really benefit the story, did I leave out? And then hit like if you liked it, and subscribe and notify. And I'll put this whole list up on Patreon so that you can go in and play with it if you want. And I think that covers it all. And as usual, it's been great talking to you.